Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Dead Creepy Podcast, brought to you all the way from South Wales in the UK. I'm LINZI Smith, and with me is my big sister and co-host Claire Barrand. And tonight we are also joined by our special guest MJ Dickson. MJ is not only a psychic medium, but she's the founder, member and owner of Sage Paranormal and the Sage Paracon event. Welcome, MJ.
Hello, how are you doing?
Oh, it's fantastic to talk to you at last.
Likewise. It's been exciting being on your show. I've heard very good things.
Have you?
I have. I've heard very good things about the two of you ladies.
That's lovely, because we're quite new. I think this will be going out as show number 9, I think.
Wow, it is very new.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you know what? I've heard some great reviews. I heard that the two of you are really, really fun and really interesting questions. And so, you know, people are liking it.
And so it's lovely to talk to you, because we actually got talking about 2 weeks ago, because LINZI and I have booked tickets to this year's Sage Paracon event.
I know. I'm really excited that you ladies are coming over.
I can't wait. Absolutely.
It's nice that the word is starting to spread. The first year was really difficult for us.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people saw it advertised, and, you know, we had some really good speakers and things last year, but everyone kind of went, well, we want to see how it goes.
Yes.
So, you know, there were a lot of people that said, yeah, we'll see. And this year they were like, oh my God, I'm not missing out. So
yes.
It's great. It's really nice to have that kind of support. And
so is this how many years have you been doing that?
This is the second year that we're doing the Sage Paracon.
Right.
Wow. That I've hosted myself. And it's growing. It's going from strength to strength. Next year, we've decided that we're going to do it on the cruise. I don't know if I will do a land one as well towards the end of the year.
Okay.
We're still busy deciding. It's just I've got so many projects on at the moment, so this does take up quite a bit of my time putting them together.
You're a very busy lady.
I am.
You've got your finger in a lot of pies. I can see you're involved in so many different projects. I don't know where you find the time to do it.
Neither do I, to be honest.
Do you sleep?
Yes, now I do. I never used to. I used to have about 2-3 hours sleep a night.
Oh,
and yeah, it was really bad. But I decided that I just need to chill out a bit and look after my health and take some more time. So now weekends are completely mine, unless I'm investigating, obviously.
Yeah,
I try not to do any office work or emails or anything over a weekend.
I think that's a good plan.
Yeah, so just to have a bit of a break, and I do try and get some sleep. But at the moment it's a bit difficult because there's just too many things going on.
Yes, incredibly busy. So, I definitely want to come back and talk about Paracon and the cruise a bit later on. But why don't you start us off and just give us a little bit about your background for any listeners that might not know? How did you start off with paranormal?
Well, I grew up in a bit of an airy-fairy family, shall I say. My mom's side of the family are all psychic mediums. Right. And my father's side, my dad was a military man for many years. So I kind of grew up with the best of both worlds. My mom being really metaphysical and, you know, on the spiritual side of things. Whereas my dad was very scientific and there was a logical explanation for everything. So it lent itself perfectly to a nice balance when it came to me investigating. So I grew up with strange things happening all the time, but I took after my dad. And I was always like, you know, you crazy ladies. You're speaking to people that aren't there. You're nuts. And I don't know, I was very much seeing as believing. I hadn't experienced it personally. Like things would happen in the house and my mom would be like, oh yeah, it's just your gran. But for a really long time, I was kind of on the fence with things. And my mom always said to me that, the gene is passed down. It's going to kick in with me some point. And she wanted to teach me. And I went, no, I'm good. Thank you. Yeah. And then I got to like my early 20s and it kicked in. And it kicked in full force. And I went, oh, crap. Now what? Like, Mom, can you help me? And she went, no, figure it out yourself. So it was quite scary at first. And then in my state of panic, and now I'm hearing voices, and I thought I was going to book myself into an insane asylum pretty soon. I got in touch with a wonderful psychic medium by the name of Liz Cormel, and we just hit it off really well, and Liz helped me with my development. She really helped me understand things a bit better and calmed me down. She was my saving grace. And we just became really good friends. I'd begun investigating because obviously my dad's side took over and went, wait, how is this possible? So I really started getting more into the investigating side of things. And it was more to prove that I wasn't going nuts. I wanted the validation for myself. I wanted to be able to capture everything that I was experiencing on camera or, on recordings. So it was, to start out with, it was very much just to prove that I wasn't losing my mind. Yeah. And I fell in love with it,
Yeah. People... And is that, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Is that exactly how it happened when you said in your 20s, it suddenly kicked in? Had you always been, do you think, had a sixth sense as a child?
I think I was always sensitive to it. I mean, I remember an experience that happened when I must have been about 4 years old. And I'll never forget my mom's words because I was walking down, it's a really long story short, but I was walking down the corridor in our house, like the passageway, and I met my mom at the bedroom door, the spare bedroom. And I looked in and I looked at my mom and I went, Mommy, who's that man? My mom obviously had seen said person in the room and she fainted. She freaked out completely. And she woke up and she was crying and she just looked at me and she went, oh no, not you too.
Oh, wow.
At the time I didn't understand. I mean, I was like a 4-year-old kid and the idea of playing video games with my brother was way more interesting. So, I just kind of toddled along and there was, I had experiences, but I don't know, maybe it was just my dad's really hardcore skeptical scientific side that anytime I experienced something, I brushed it off. It was only later on in life when I looked back at those experiences and I went, wow, those were some serious lessons and some really crazy experiences. To me, they were just normal. That's what happened in everybody's houses. So I didn't think it was anything different until I had an experience when I realized that it had really kicked in with me. I'd woken up at about 4 o'clock in the morning and my uncle was stood at the end of my bed trying to wake me up, and he passed away when I was about 3-4 years old. He was actually the man that I'd seen in the room when I was around 3-4 years old when I asked my mum, who's that man?
Okay. Wow.
So, yeah.
Do you see him regularly now?
I've only seen him twice since.
Right.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and I've only ever had one other medium pick up on him where he's come through. And it was funny because he was Greek. Right. So I went to go and see this medium and she kept going, there's this man by the name of Peter that's coming through and he's really, really strong. And I was going, yeah, no.
Uncle Peter.
You're talking nonsense. Like, I don't have any Peters. And I went home really disappointed. And I went to my mom, she kept saying there's this guy called Peter. And my mom was like, yeah, it's your uncle, Panyas. His name in English is Peter.
Oh, I see.
Said, oh. I didn't know him by his English name.
Wow, so. Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Gosh, that's fantastic. So, and then in your 20s, how did that suddenly develop? Was it overnight? Did something
pretty happen? Much was like somebody switched a switch on. It was from the experience of waking up and seeing my uncle at the end of the bed trying to tell me something. Needless to say, I completely freaked out. I was hyperventilating. And I woke up in the morning And I walked out of my room and I bumped into my mom. She was coming out of her room because I'd moved back in with them for a little bit. And my mom was like, "Oh, you look really tired, my girl." Yeah, I didn't sleep well. I wasn't going to tell her what I thought I'd experienced, you know. And she was like, "Yeah, me neither. Your uncle came to visit me last night and he was trying to tell me something, but I couldn't hear what he was saying. It was like he was really far away." And I was just like, "Well, okay." Wow. And she was just like, "Oh, did he come visit you?" My instant reaction was like, "Did my dead uncle come and visit? What the hell is wrong with this family? That is not normal."
Were you perhaps in denial a little bit?
I really was. I really, really was.
Yeah.
It really took me by surprise how strong it kicked in. And, you know, it took me about 2 years to kind of wrap my head around it and figure things out. It wasn't an overnight journey of learning.
Right.
You know, and learning that there's also an etiquette to it, because a lot of mediums, you know, I think most mediums will agree with me. It is really rude to just kind of walk up to someone and be like, "Oh, by the way, Grandma Joe says hi."
Yeah. Yes. You see that happening in Long Island mediums. Teresa
I can't
goes
stand it. I can't stand it. I think, do you know what? How shocked. How that poor person, you know, you can't be doing something like that.
No.
I know this from experience.
Yeah. I mean, it has to be staged, but it's a terrible example to give. That you could just suddenly walk into the bakery, buy a loaf of bread and say, "Oh, by the way, who's the mother spirit that passed?" And she's there and she has people in tears, and, you know, you've got to be ready for it.
There's a time and a place. I think people that book you for readings or that know what you do, first of all,
yes,
if they want to know something, I think that they contact you. They come to you, you know. And I can understand where certain mediums come from, because if they do have a message to pass, they kind of like tell them, and they don't stop.
Right.
You know, they really bug you until you tell that person whatever the message is.
Okay.
I don't know about all mediums, but I've certainly spoken to a few mediums that have this sort of experience.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, well, I mean, I've seen a few mediums, and they'll start off by saying, "I've had a gentleman with me all day,"
exactly.
Or a child, and it really makes me think, well, really, is that how it happens? So
yeah. Oh,
wow. Yeah. So do you kind of tune into it on purpose, and can you switch it on and off? Because if you're just, say, carrying on your everyday life, washing the dishes, do you suddenly get somebody?
Yes.
Really? So it could be quite intrusive then.
It can be. You know, most mediums learn very quickly how you don't switch it off. It's kind of like a dimmer switch.
Right.
So you kind of turn it down, so it's sort of background noise. If anything had to walk in my house or walk up to me, if anyone, I would know that it's there, but I'm not so much paying attention, if that makes sense. And I never used to be like that. You know, Liz really taught me that. And also, you have to be a bit forward, because sometimes it can be really overwhelming, especially for someone that's still trying to figure things out themselves, where you have all of these people on the other side that are just trying to bombard you with messages, because they're like, "Oh my gosh, you can hear us, that's fantastic, blah 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 blah." And you're like, "What? Wait, this is freaking me out." So you very much have to stand your ground and be like, "All right, that's it, get in line."
I'm thinking of Whoopi Goldberg right now.
Yeah, it's pretty much that's pretty close to it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you also have to learn to go, my house or my bedroom is my sanctuary. Like, you do not set foot in it. My time to sleep is my time to sleep.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll be up all night.
Do you find most of the spirits are quite respectful of that?
Yes, most are. I have come across that it's usually teenagers and children that generally don't really care.
Well, that would be just like in real life, really, wouldn't it?
Exactly. They're exactly the same. You know, people go, they always go, oh, I wonder what so-and-so is like on the other side. They are exactly the same.
Uh-huh.
They have the same sense of humor, if not better. They have, it's very peaceful. They're very loving. I mean, sometimes they can come across as a bit angry about something that you've done. Perhaps you've given away Grandma Joe's wedding ring and, she didn't want you to. So they will show that they're, I wouldn't say angry at you, but that they would like the situation to be different. But
and anybody ever come across unpleasant and that you've had to remove go ahead.
I have had several experiences actually where it was during investigation, so we're very much in their territory. It's not my home, it's not that sort of thing. It's more in a case of I've gone on an investigation and I've come across someone that's actually just a bit of a nasty person. Maybe they feel like you're invading their space. They don't want you there. I mean, how many EVPs do we capture saying, get out?
Yeah.
Leave me alone. Blah, blah, blah. So half the time it's just someone that's a bit miserable and you're sitting there going, is there anyone here? Knock once for yes, twice for no. And eventually, after every Friday and Saturday night of groups doing this week in and week out, they're a bit like, oh my goodness, would you just leave me in peace?
Yeah.
So I have come across that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I've had people come through on Spirit Box and EVP saying, I'll kill you. Also, I've had a few nasty things come through, growls and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it's very few and far between, to be honest, that I've experienced. Obviously, everyone, you go to different places and you react differently, I think.
And do you feel that you have a protection in some way, like a spirit guide that could perhaps keep certain entities at arm's length?
Sorry, I've lost you.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Hello?
Hello? Hello? Oh, no. Okay, we'll keep recording. Let's... Hello?
Hello?
Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hi, hello, can you hear us?
Hi, yes, sorry, I completely lost you.
That's okay. That's okay. We can do a bit of magic in our Audacity and blend it together.
Fantastic. Audacity's great, isn't it?
It's fantastic for that. In fact, I wouldn't have known anything about Audacity if it hadn't have been for EVPs. I think that's most of our introduction to Audacity is listening to the EVPs and then now obviously the podcast. So at least I know a few of the settings that way.
Good.
That's fascinating that you were saying about certain negative, would you call them entities or spirits, I guess, that you encounter, as I would imagine mostly on when you're on investigation.
I mean, I think it's because, my house is a bit on lockdown. I'm very wary with psychic protections and that sort of thing. So don't get me wrong, I have had one or two things come in that have not been pleasant. Right. But generally, I find it at other locations. And a big misconception, I think, that gives the paranormal a really bad rep is TV shows, everybody's running around going, #it's a demon.
Yeah.
Literally, some shows
every week,
every single episode.
Yeah,
it's amazing. I've never seen so many demons in my entire life.
I know. We never get one.
Yeah, I know, right? And then, so that also just gives it a really bad rep. And I also think that sometimes people, like you, misunderstand people in this life, so you do with them as well. I think sometimes they just don't want you in their space. They want a bit of peace and quiet, and you're there for 6-7 hours asking questions, and eventually they're like, just get out. And you go, oh my God, it's something negative. No, you've just really annoyed somebody. So I think sometimes it's just taken up the wrong way. Yeah. You did ask about protection and guides.
I did. I wondered if you had a spirit guide that perhaps keeps certain things at arm's length from you.
I do. I actually have. I know a few people call them a gatekeeper.
Right.
And the gatekeeper is pretty much your bodyguard on the other side, especially for someone that does this type of work.
Okay.
Mine, the first time I came across him, terrified the hell out of me. I was like, who is this huge guy that's covered in tribal tattoos from head to toe, and he looks Maori, and who's just walking around my house? So I was a bit like, who the hell are you? What are you doing in my space? And it took me forever to kind of get a name from him. And so at first it was really intimidating. So I can see why he's kind of like the bouncer on that side. You know, he's the bodyguard. And then obviously each and every person does have a guide, whether that's a family member. Some have 2 or 3.
Right.
I do. I've got my little, I call them my invisible A-team.
And it's a really reassuring thought, isn't it?
It really is.
I've always felt, LINZI and I are sisters, obviously, and we've always felt that there's something protecting us when we go on investigations. And, sometimes you think, I wonder if they're holding them all back from us because nothing happens, or things, other people might experience things and we feel like we're being shielded in a way.
Which is not necessarily a bad thing.
No, not at all.
It's funny. I get asked all the time, like, "Oh, how do I know I have a guide?" So for the listeners out there that maybe you haven't developed your gift, because everybody has it. Everyone has that sixth sense to some extent, that gut feeling, that gut instinct. Everybody has it. Some people, it's like a muscle. The more you use it and the more open you are to experiences, the more sensitive you become.
Yes.
And if you want to meet your guides, what I found the least terrifying that way is to ask your guide to introduce themselves to you in a dream.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so you have like a really vivid dream of meeting this person, and you get to kind of see what they look like and get their name, and perhaps in your dream you're having a chat and they have a message to share with you. So it's probably the least scary way.
I'm going to try that tonight. Yeah, and we'll compare notes in the morning and we'll let you know who comes.
That would be great.
I hope I have a really hunky, good-looking guide, And
actually, to be fair, one of mine's not bad looking at all.
Hey, well, there's got to be some perks, hasn't there?
Yeah, he's a bit arrogant, but otherwise he's pretty good.
And there's another thing. So you have this gift, and because I would call it a gift, and I'm sure there's some that perhaps wouldn't, but instead of going down the route of holding, say, an evening of clairvoyance with MJ and you have an audience come in, you've gone down the actual paranormal investigation route, which is interesting.
Well, like I said, there's so many charlatans in this world these days. And I take after I really like the scientific side. I take after my dad very much in that sense. So there's so many people that can cold read. There's so many people that, I don't know. There really are some charlatans. So for like an evening of mediumship, to me, you have to really be so sure of your gift. You've got to be so well developed. You are captivating an audience who are all sitting there wanting so desperately to hear from a loved one.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very sensitive subject. There's a certain way to approach it. There's certain people that should and shouldn't do it.
Yeah, I agree.
And because I like the science behind it more, I kind of like the fact that whatever, because anyone on an investigation can go, "Oh, I feel this gentleman that's just walked in the room." How do the other people know? How do the other investigators know?
Yeah.
How do you know?
Yeah.
So I like the validation. I like putting the scientific sides, the EVPs, the et cetera, I like putting that up against it.
So you like the technical
validation
things as well.
I do.
You like science.
I really do.
That's interesting. That's really interesting. So you're...
It's funny because in Sage Paranormal, I'm not the medium.
Oh, right.
I'm not the resident medium. No, I am the tech person. I rely on the tech.
Okay.
I rely on actually capturing the EVPs, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Liz is the medium.
Right. Wow. Well, so, and does Liz, when you go in, you take in members of the public, does Liz say straight away how she feels, or does she wait until the investigation's coming to a close and then perhaps say, or do you just sort of go with what your guests are wanting at the time?
We very seldomly do public events.
Okay.
The public events that we do are all sort of sharing locations with experienced investigators.
Right.
Yeah.
So it works a little differently. I mean, we don't really take newbies out. That's not really our field, if you will.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
We have in the past, we've done a charity event, and then obviously we've kind of gone with what the guests would like to experience.
Yeah.
So if Liz was getting stuff straight away, she would let everybody know. She's generally very good with that. Because both of us mediums, you know, I will pick up that something's walked into the room. I'll pick up, say, for instance, this woman has walked into the room. I kind of get a sense of what she looks like, etc., and where she is in the room. So I'll sort of aim equipment in that direction. And at the same time, Liz will be like, oh, a lady's just come in. So it validates what I'm picking up. It lets everybody else know that she's picking something up as the medium. Yeah. I will then second that if I do pick up the same thing, saying that, yes, I've got that as well. And between the two of us, we'll kind of paint a picture of what she looks like or any information. And then hopefully we capture something with any of the equipment as well. We do our research, the historic research in that, after the investigation.
Right.
Because both of us are mediums, you don't want to be tainted in any way.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? You don't want to be... you can open yourself up to suggestion, can't you? With
exactly. Then the investigation's kind of led. It's also when people tell you experiences that they've had in that location. So, you know, someone will go, oh, I see this black shadow at the end of the bar walking past all the time. So when you're investigating, now all of a sudden you're looking for this shadow at the end of the bar. However, any subtle changes in lights and maybe your eyes haven't adjusted properly, all of a sudden anything like that, you'll be like, oh, there it is. Yeah. Instead of, wait, hold on, that's just my eyes adjusting.
Yeah.
So, you know, you jump to conclusions that way. So I like to do any interviews or any research after we've done the investigation. It does make it more difficult, but it gives you a cleaner investigation.
Yeah.
And what sort of locations do you investigate? Is there a wide range? Do you do private houses, or what's the sort of place?
We don't do private houses.
Okay.
We have done, and that's people that really did need some peace of mind. A lot of the time, just from the phone call. And asking a few questions, I could kind of tell that what they were experiencing could be explained with science.
Yeah.
You know, that there was nothing actually paranormal. There was no demon attacking them.
Right.
Too many TV shows, too many horror movies.
Yeah. That's a very diplomatic way of putting it.
Yeah. So, I have done in the past where, you know, myself and Liz have gone into a couple of houses, and it's mainly the only ones we'll take on is if there are children involved.
Okay.
Just because it causes a lot more stress for the children, you know, and especially if they are frightened, it's putting their minds at ease.
Right.
Yeah.
We haven't really done that many. I don't think that people should rush into doing private investigations because you need to really know what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, you can't. I've seen so many teams that watch Ghost Adventures and Haunted Collector and et cetera, and they love the TV shows. And then 2 days later, they've all got black T-shirts with a little team name, a K2 meter, and they're doing private investigations. And, you know, they're going into houses going, I will rid you of your demons. And the people are like, wait, what? We got a demon? All of a sudden, there's panic in the family. There's, oh my God, this person with funny equipment and a uniform told me that we've got a demon in my house, and there's panic. And there's so,
which can have an effect in itself, I think.
Exactly. Exactly. So I do not suggest that anyone with less than 4 or 5 years experience really actively learning in the field and investigating goes anywhere near a private house.
Good advice.
You know, that it's there's way more to it. You, as a person that does private cases, you're part counselor. You might be dealing with child abuse. You might be dealing with all sorts of other things. It's a whole different can of worms.
Yes.
You know, and people don't realize that things like those traumas manifest in other ways.
Yes.
Yes.
So, you know, it's not just about going in with your lovely little IR camera that you paid so much money for and fancy equipment and flashing lights. That's not necessarily what the family needs.
Yeah.
So you would go to...
We do field trips. We hire locations that are known to be active, and sometimes some unknown places.
Yeah.
But it's sort of places we can match science to history to mediumship, and that we can share with other investigators. Because let's face it, these days, especially if a TV show has been at a location, the price goes from about £200 a night to about £2,000 a night.
Oh, yeah. It's shocking, isn't it?
It's ridiculous. And you know what? It's the nature of the game.
Yeah, it is.
You know, it's the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
So for anyone that actually wants to do investigations for research purposes, it's really expensive. So we do investigations where we'll say, right, we're doing a public event of sorts. We have 10 tickets. We're taking the amounts of this location, splitting it evenly. We want serious investigators that want to join us and learn more, learn from each other. Those are the kind of events we'll do in the sense of public investigations.
Right.
Otherwise, we will investigate places that, you know, we might know the owners, we can get them for free, and it's all research, and it's fun.
Yeah, absolutely. The price you pay doesn't reflect on the quality of the spirits, does it?
Yeah, exactly that.
It doesn't guarantee you any more activity, does it?
Nope, none whatsoever.
Unfortunately.
And this is something, because I usually lecture at conventions, and I sort of do the Paranormal 101 beginners kind of lecture, if you will.
Okay.
So I teach people the basics of recording EVPs, or the equipment that we use, how we do certain experiments, things that we've done that have been successful, interesting things that we've learned from other investigators along the way, how to do the research and look into things. That sort of, you know, if you want to be a paranormal investigator, how do you get into it? Yeah. Where do you start? Do you start by watching the shows and checking on a black t-shirt? No. Where do you find the information and the research? How do you join a team? Those sort of things. To kind of prevent the watching the TV shows and putting on a t-shirt.
Yeah. That's it. It's all very well for entertainment purposes, but, you know, it's very refreshing to have somebody like you that can actually clarify. I mean, I wish we'd have met you a few years ago, because we started off the usual way. I think you watch Most Haunted, and then you go on an event, and that's it. And
you go and buy equipment, and then you know, there's so many stages. It's funny because people watch the shows and then they go, yes, I want to do this, and then they go and put together a little Facebook page and create a little team, and they go on an event. They love it. They put together their team. They buy so much equipment.
Yes.
All of their money starts going onto equipment. They investigate every weekend, and then it kind of starts dying down a bit. And people go, well, this is serious research purposes, those that stick around long enough. And you see how at first they're still lugging like 3, 4 cases, 5 cases of equipment. And 2 years down the line, they've got like one little case of equipment, or maybe like a small little backpack, and it becomes more serious and more about experiments, and
and it goes out of date. The equipment, it's
So anyone listening, skip buying all the equipment and get yourself a nice little basic kit. You'll save money.
Exactly.
Guaranteed that's all you're going to use.
Because we're quite old school with our investigations. Lindsay and I haven't spent a lot of money on equipment. We've got the, I think I've got K2 Melmeter, a spirit box, echo box, that
good EVP recorder.
We've got 2 of those. So we stick with those, but we also use things like marbles and talcum powder, and that kind of thing. I think that's
great.
It's quite good fun,
It's definitely good. Do you know, there's so many things that you can do that, for instance, here's an experiment that we did in March. We were at Fort Horsted, and Fort Woodley, down in Kent.
Right.
And so you walk down a really long corridor down into the fort. You then get to sort of a spiral staircase that goes back up to the parade grounds on top of the fort. And there's 4 other tunnels that lead off, and there's sort of rooms at the bottom of each tunnel. So what we did was we tried to recreate, because you're in a fort, we tried to recreate the chaos of like air raids, shelter sirens going off, and all the air raids, and the chaos of somebody shouting orders and that sort of thing. And we stationed people with a Melmeter or a K2 and a digital recorder at each entrance of the other tunnel surrounding the spiral staircase. Right. We had Ashley Nibb, who joined us for the investigation. He was running around the spiral staircase, barking orders and, playing the air raid siren over a speaker. And it really sounded really chaotic. And then we stopped the air raid siren, and we kept recording. And he just picked a random name that came to mind. And he was like, "Get to your station, Smithy, you're lagging behind, son." And we heard the recording, and then he captured on one recorder, not the others. We heard this deep male voice go, "I'm behind you."
Ooh.
So, by recreating something so simple, by playing, we downloaded the sound of the air raid siren off YouTube or something, or we played it over YouTube or something. We played it over a speaker, connected to a phone, something so small.
Yeah.
That's
Didn't
really
cost
interesting.
a lot of money. But recreating that chaos, that gave us really good results.
It perhaps it created the energy. Yes.
Yeah, you're introducing extra elements, aren't you?
Yeah.
That's interesting, because we did something.
Sorry.
There was a bit of a delay, I think, between me talking and you ending. So sorry if I interrupt. But it reminded me of an experiment Lindsay and I did at Craggy Noss Castle. And it wasn't an experiment we'd been told of or that we knew was anything that would work, but we downloaded Adelina Patti used to live there. She was an Italian opera singer, and we downloaded her very last ever recorded song. It was 1920s or 30s, I think. It was very old, like scratchy gramophone recording, and played that under the stage. And there'd been no activity up until that point. And as soon as we played her music, we started to get... it was. It kicked off several times, to the point where we thought it was another team member in the building playing tricks on us, and it wasn't. We redid it a few times, and it was the equipment as well. The REM pods were going off, the Boo Bears. There were lots of equipment there that night from the other teams. So what you're saying is that validates what we did was right then. So
well, it's the Singapore experiment. It's recreating something using sound, smell, every sort of different element that you can use to recreate a certain situation or a trigger of something like music that they loved. Another really cool experiment that we did with Brian J. Cano from Haunted Collector when he was over was the psychic projection experiment. It was really fascinating to me.
Right.
So there was a group of about 20 of us all together. Of that group, there were 5 psychic mediums. We all sat around a really big table in what we called the base room of the fort. We each had our digital recorders on the table, and we decided on a word of the day. And the word of the day, seeing as though we had been speaking about Lord of the Rings, we decided the word of the day would be Gollum.
Right.
Unfortunately, because somebody at the table did a really good Gollum impression. So this is how it came about. So we were having a good laugh, and it was sort of, as soon as everyone went, all right, we're going to pick a word for this, that popped to our heads. Okay. So we had a good laugh. We decided what we were going to do was record for a full 60 seconds while everybody just thought of that word over and over, just try to project that thought into the digital recorder. So if thoughts are energy, it's kind of like an experiment to see if you can project your thoughts onto a recording. And so for 60 seconds, we recorded without anybody tagging anything at all. So only 60 seconds that we had to be quiet, which is quite difficult with a group that size. We've managed to pull it off. There's always someone scratching, sniffing, sneezing, or something of the other.
Yes.
But when we played this recording back straight away, we heard the word Gollum 3 times on the recording.
No way.
Crystal clear.
Wow.
We have to try that.
It raises so many questions. Is it the spirits in the location that are aware of your thoughts?
Yeah.
Are they aware of what you are trying to do? Or is it you psychically projecting your thoughts onto the recorder? Which means how many of our EVPs are actually us?
Yes.
Have you ever tried that experiment using perhaps something like Spirit Box or Echo Box or something like that?
We have, yes. And it hasn't worked. We did try it again somewhere else, same sort of time period, different location, but with Brian in March, and it was unsuccessful.
That's interesting.
So, was it just the way the energy was in that particular location, or it brings up so many questions, and that's why I love the hows, the whys. Why does it happen? How is it possible?
It really does. And what would your perception be of the voices that you hear, either through EVP or through your own mediumship? Do you believe that they are all the spirits of people that have passed, or do you think we can ever pick up on human voices that could perhaps be another entity altogether?
I do think we might be able to pick up, different types of entities. And I say this only because I've had a run-in with what we would call elemental.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah. Okay. So I've had an experience with an elemental at a certain location, which was really not nice. First of all, I had to wrap my brain around that it wasn't a human spirit.
Right.
They are sort of born of earth energy, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
They come across as, a lot of people would confuse them with something malevolent, or as they say in today's age, everything's demonic. However, it is because they have never been human, so they're really mischievous, and sometimes we might take that up as being a negative entity, whereas for them, they're not being negative, they're just being themselves. They're being a bit mischievous and a bit playful, and so I had an experience at a location with an entity that kept presenting it off different ways.
Right.
Okay.
And eventually, it started out as a child, a little girl. And the more it came through as a little girl, the more I sat there going, this is not a little girl. I don't know what this is. That is not a child. And we had the spirit box going at the time. And we had this little girl's voice come through going, help me. And I just got the creeps. I was like, that is not a child. I don't care how much it pretends to be. That's not what it is.
Right.
We kept ignoring it. And about 15 minutes later, it said, help me again, but in a slightly deeper voice. And about 10 minutes later, it said, help me again, in a really horrible voice. Really deep, gruffly, horrible voice. All crystal clear through the spirit box.
Right.
And then we went back to this location a few months later. And I was busy setting up some static cameras and things because everyone was going out for a bit of a smoke break and a sandwich and all of that.
Yeah.
A bit of a 10-minute coffee break or so. And so I thought, I'm going to leave some equipment running while we're outside because there's nobody in the building. And on the recording, you hear me walking out, like the footsteps on the wooden floor, and you hear this thing in a little girl's voice go, bye.
Oh.
If I had heard that at the time,
oh my goodness.
because I was like, oh my God, I was alone in there. Oh,
yes. Wow. So that's an interesting thought then, because you're known for having balls of steel. So
yeah.
So what scares you then? Something.
Oh, do you know what? I do tend to run towards things, but I mean, oh, and I love the person that decided to write my bio. She's lovely. But, I do tend to run towards things. It did take a lot. I mean, when I first started investigating, and it still happens. I'm not going to lie. I had several run-ins with air fresheners. So, I don't know. I get creeped out.
Yeah.
I have silent freakouts.
Yeah.
Have you ever left a building because you were just too freaked out by?
Yes.
Right.
Yes, I have. It's a particular location, actually, and you couldn't pay me 7 figures to go back.
Really? Can we ask where that is?
Do you know what? It's really funny because everybody else I've spoken to has always had a really good experience there.
Okay.
I don't know if I should mention that. Well,
maybe a clue then. Maybe a hint of what type of building.
Well, like I say, everybody else that's had experiences at this place had really good ones.
Mm-hmm.
Some people have gone there and they've got absolutely nothing. It's been completely flat. Myself, however, myself and the team, we had a few friends join us for an investigation there, and we just had a really, really negative experience. Another investigator was scratched really badly all the way down his arm. I had 3 scratch marks down my shoulder, which drew blood.
Wow.
It was the first time that I called off an investigation because I was worried about the safety of the people that were there.
Wow.
Goodness.
That was at Drakelow Tunnels in Kidderminster.
Wow.
Wow.
They're quite famous, aren't they?
And they're very popular with events teams, aren't they?
Exactly, yeah. And do you know what? Every other person I've ever spoken to has had really pleasant experiences there. So
But that doesn't go to say that yours is not, it could be that there was something about your team that triggered.
This is what I was going to say. Maybe it was just the fact that we had a really strong team, really strong personalities, several really strong developed mediums. I don't know. Maybe it was something that was just really intimidated by our team. Everybody else that's gone in has had great experiences, other experienced teams or public events. So perhaps, we don't know. Maybe it was something that came in with us. Maybe it was, followed one of the investigators from somewhere else. We don't know. But it was really not a good experience whatsoever. It was just really horrible all around. And that was the first time. I think it got to about midnight. And there was a particular thing that happened. Something tried to get in, shall I say. Something tried to take over, sort of trance mediumship.
I see.
Without permission.
Right.
For you or for Liz?
Or for myself.
Right.
And that I don't really have any experience with that. Personally, I didn't even know what trance mediumship was.
Okay, so you weren't actively trying to do trans mediumship?
No.
Oh gosh, okay.
Oh no! My energy. Nothing's coming in. I don't care who you are. You can be Mother Teresa. It's not happening.
Yeah.
That is frightening.
It really did take me by surprise. It was really scary. I did end up blacking out.
Oh, wow.
It doesn't look like me on camera whatsoever.
Wow.
sort of just my facial expression. I can't even watch the video because it's that disturbing to me. And Liz thankfully knew exactly what was going on, so she removed me from the location. We went back in after I'd calmed down and sort of thought, you know what, let me just shake it off, let me get my protection up a bit stronger, let's go back in. And we must have been in there for about another 20 minutes, and I went, you know what, I'm actually worried about the safety of the team. I'd rather we call it a night. And that must have been about midnight.
Yeah.
You know, the first time I've ever called off an investigation.
Yeah. Wow. It just goes to show it's, you know, it can happen to anybody, even somebody who's trained and experienced. It's not something it's not a game, is it?
Exactly. Then this is my big concern with people that don't know how to start out, and they kind of just jump into it and they think, oh, nothing will happen to me.
Yeah.
You know, it happens. It happens to the best of us. It happens to the most experienced people. So, you know, I've spoken to people that have been in this industry for 30 odd years. I'm still a rookie in this industry. I haven't even been in the industry for a full 10 years. So I still consider myself a rookie. I still think I have so much more to learn, which is again why I don't do private investigations.
Right. Yes.
I still don't feel that I'm experienced enough for that or ready for that.
Yeah.
So, you know, it happens to people that have literally decades of experience. So for newbies that are getting into it, I want to grab them by the shoulders and shake them and go, you don't understand the dangers involved.
Yeah.
That's right. They don't. They think, you know, it happens as it is on the television. And I think that's why LINZI and I enjoy these organised Paracon events, because you come away from them feeling like you've learned so much.
Oh, sorry, I've lost you.
Oh no. Can you hear me? Hello? Oh no. I'm trying to... Hello? Hi. Can you hear me?
Sorry, yeah.
Can you hear us? I don't know if it's the Wi-Fi or whether it's the heat or what's going on. But that's the second time now we've been.
Yeah, it's gremlins, I'm telling you.
It could be. It could be. It's really strange how they don't want us to talk, isn't it?
Because my Wi-Fi is all good as well, so I don't know what that is.
Well, mine should be good because I've just upgraded to a stronger broadband, but I don't know. I think it could be gremlins. It's never happened before, so who knows? It could be paranormal.
So you were saying that you enjoy going to conventions because you.
That's right. Because I think however long you've been in the field, you can never know. Nobody knows it all. And when we go along to these conventions, we always come away, LINZI and I, feeling that we've learned so much, and the guest speakers always have a lot to offer, but also the guests as well, the other people that attend these events. They're always so social, and everybody gets chatting, and we always come away and we're instantly adding loads of people on Facebook that we've met, because you make friends. And I was curious as to what got you into deciding, hey, I know I'm going to organise a convention, because it's no easy feat. I'm sure it takes a lot.
It's not.
Rather you than me.
Instantly regretted it when I started. Do you know what? It's because of exactly what you just said. I attended several different conventions as a guest speaker in America and a few other countries. And I would go to these events, and it would just be the most amazing feeling of just everybody's on the same page, and everybody wants to share, and everybody wants to learn, and everyone wants to have conversations, swap ideas. And you learn so much from other investigators. And on top of that, you then have experienced people in the field talking about, what they maybe know the best.
Yeah.
So you're getting somebody that really is well researched and really has studied this for several years, and they're still learning, and they want to share that knowledge in a really easy, fun way and a great, fun environment. So, and you do. I mean, I think you ladies have noticed that I call it the Sage Tribe.
Yes.
And I do that
love that.
we started out as just, a few friends that would join us on investigations and that. And now we literally have people that we formed such amazing friendships with worldwide, that we've met through conventions, through projects that we've worked on. Yeah. And it's like adding to one big happy family. And everyone is really accepting of each other.
Yeah.
So, last year with the convention, we've got a lot of returning guests. Pretty much most of the people that were there last year are joining us again this year. There's the odd few that have weddings, etc., that can't make it, which are really heartbroken. But we do have quite a fair few of the people that were there last year. And it's great because it's like everyone's already chatting like, oh my God, it's going to be a reunion. Yeah. We're going to have new speakers. This is great. We're going to learn. We're going to investigate together. And it's that sort of feeling that I thought, we really need that in the UK.
Yeah,
we really need more of those. It's not a competition. You can have, America has 3 or 4 paranormal events and conferences every weekend.
They do, don't they?
In a different state, sometimes in the same state.
Yeah.
It's not a competition. It's not to say that they can't have one in Wales and they can't have more in England or Scotland or, that we can't promote each other's events or whatever.
Yeah.
We need that to learn, to move the field forward.
We do. They seem to have them all the time in America, and it's, it's just like, anything else that, maybe a traveling circus or theatre or any event or a concert or, we have lots of open air festivals in the UK. That's what, why can't people go to all of them? And, it's addictive in a way. Once you've been to one, you want to go to another and another.
Exactly. And like you say, with festivals and things, if you have a festival this weekend and they've got Eminem as the headliner, and you've got a festival next weekend that has, AC/DC as a headliner, it's not to say that they're both in competition with each other.
Of course
they've got
not.
different headliners. It's different. They appeal to different people.
Yes.
Maybe you want to go and see both.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So we have different speakers. There's another event, I think it's a week after ours.
Right.
Paraforce.
Okay.
And I think they're in Essex. I'm really not sure.
Okay.
But, people should just Google it. I'm pretty sure it'll just come up if you Google it.
Yeah.
But they've got some amazing headliners.
Right.
And I've seen Barry Fitzgerald do a talk before. I've seen Joe Chin do a talk before. I've investigated with both of them before.
Yeah.
At a convention in Ireland.
Yes.
And, just because they are another team doing another convention, it doesn't mean people have to choose or, if you come to mine, you can't go to theirs. Or I don't know.
Exactly.
Has a lot of that.
Isn't it strange? I think maybe it's this British thing of, I don't want to offend her. If I go to their event, then she might be offended and think I'm showing preference. Maybe it's the British thing. We need to get over that, don't we?
Yeah, you're going to have different events. You're going to have different teams. It's the same thing as having public events companies. How many of them, for instance, go to Drakelow tunnels? You have several different teams that put on public events there every weekend. So go with the team that you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
Find your group of people that you're comfortable with.
That's right.
That's
very, very
even.
And so, talking of your guest speakers, are you you probably can't say who's your favourite, but have you ever had a favourite, or who would be your?
Gonna get me in trouble.
I know. I don't want to get you into trouble. I'm just dying to know who. I don't know. Who would your dream lineup be? Or
I have them for this year's
fantastic.
So Brian J. Cano is a very, very good friend of mine.
Yeah.
And he is just all around lovely. But that man, I call him my paranormal Yoda. He has such a wealth of knowledge, and he prompts you to ask your own questions and, dig your own way. And he's really taught me so much. So, yeah. I mean, I've seen Brian's lecture on several occasions at conventions, and it is brilliant. Right. He's got a great way of explaining things. I think it's also amazing for people that have probably never been to a convention that want to learn more. His lecture is really fascinating.
Yeah.
I just always enjoyed it. I think you can learn a lot from him. Jeff Belanger, who's joining us again this year. Jeff is the writer and researcher of Ghost Adventures.
That's exciting.
And he is not only one of the most approachable people I've ever seen at an event, he is super funny. Literally, you have to walk away because you're laughing so much funny. His lectures are fun. They're energetic.
Yeah.
You learn a lot. He's a really interesting guy. Obviously, he's got tons of experience as well.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I absolutely love Jeff. I just think he's an absolute sweetheart.
I can't wait to see both of those two guys.
But on saying that, I mean, this year we've got the godfather of the paranormal. We've got John Zaffis that we've convinced to hop over the pond for the first time in 30 years.
Wow.
And I met John at a convention in Salem, Massachusetts, the Salem Con, in April.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I had the pleasure of meeting John face to face. And we ended up sitting chatting for quite some time. He is a phenomenal person as well. He's really friendly, really approachable. He has a wicked sense of humor. And you see him on TV and he comes across so serious. And when you speak to him, he has this brilliant sense of humor. He's great. He's super funny. But you're speaking to somebody that has over 40 years of experience in the paranormal.
Wow.
There's not much that he hasn't come across.
Mm. Yeah.
He's experienced so many different things, worked on thousands of cases. He has, obviously, he's known as the haunted collector.
Right.
So he has the haunted objects in his museum. He's a really fascinating man to listen to. His talk about demonology and haunted objects is definitely not one to miss.
I can't wait for that. Do you think he'll bring any of them with him?
Do you know what? I'd really like him to, but my only concern is having them on a plane.
Yeah.
That's true.
And getting them through customs office. That's a very good point there.
I'd barely want that in my house, let alone on a tin can in the sky.
Yeah.
But having said that, this year we've got several really good speakers. We've got Robert Murch, who's the world's leading Ouija board or talking board specialist.
Oh,
he's going to be doing a talk about the entire history of the Ouija board.
Yeah.
Russell Edwards is the man who named Jack the Ripper through DNA. He solved the Jack the Ripper case.
Right.
Greg Lawson is he's been a homicide detective for several years. Obviously, you guys know Greg.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
And Greg's a really good friend of mine as well. He has a very interesting approach to investigating techniques, obviously coming from a police background.
Yes.
David Parry is a spiritualist. He's just got a wealth of knowledge as well when it comes to all things spiritual, metaphysical. He's a very, very interesting person. Nikki Folsom is the author of a book called The Haunted Harlequin.
Mm-hmm.
Nikki is an investigator who's going to be sharing some of her experiences with us and telling us about her book.
Wow.
And we've also got Claire Hinks. And Claire is I actually met her through Ashley Nibb, who's a very good friend of mine.
Yeah.
He was a speaker at our...
Sorry, that's Lindsay's phone. Sorry about Lindsay's phone just rang. I can't believe. Don't worry.
So we've got Claire Hinks with us this year, and she is a psychic medium. And she did a reading for me about a week ago, And do you know what? It was probably one of the most accurate readings I've ever had.
Wow, really?
Yeah, she was phenomenal. She was absolutely mind-blowing. And she really doesn't give herself enough credit. So she's listening to this. She's gonna have
And she's just been announced, hasn't she? She's one. You've just announced her as a speaker.
Literally just announced her as the last speaker.
That's very exciting.
And, you know, it was because of her reading that she did for me. She just literally blew me away. Honestly, It was so accurate. So her way of delivering the messages across from loved ones, her personality, she's very down to earth. She comes across very loving and very caring, genuine.
And will she be doing readings at the weekend?
She'll be doing a psychic medium demonstration
that would be good.
as well as the lecture.
Right.
So, you know, I'm throwing her out of her comfort zone. It is probably the biggest group that she's going to be doing it for.
Yeah.
So I know she's going to be a bit out of her comfort zone, but she is really great. She's got nothing to worry about at all.
Not at all, no.
I really think everyone's going to love her.
Yeah, yeah. We really look forward to that, don't we? Because I've heard a few mediums speak. It'd be great to see a demonstration, wouldn't it?
Have you been to a mediumship demonstration before?
We've been to mediumship evenings. You know, several. You know, we even went to see Psychic Sally, didn't we, a couple of years ago? I can't really say I was that impressed with her.
I've heard that, unfortunately.
Sorry.
It's not the first time I've heard someone say that.
Oh, really? Yeah, we were quite disappointed. I think when you're in Wales, and the first thing she said was, "Is there somebody by the name of Davis in this room?" We're in St David's Hall in Cardiff. I think practically every single person in the room puts their hand up.
Right. Yeah, that's a bit vague.
But you know, maybe she was just having an off day. But we have a local medium that we've been to see a couple of times, and she's very, very good. You know, she's not at all show busy. She literally just does the pubs in the area and the local spiritualist things, I think. But yeah, we're fascinated by that whole topic. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Well, I do know that. Well, it's like we were saying earlier with Teresa, where she just walks up to people and just you know, you learn over the years that there's a certain etiquette when it comes to passing along messages, and it's a sensitive matter for some people. It doesn't matter whether they're a medium or not. You know, there's a way that you need to deal with it, and Claire has just got this. Just a really lovely way of doing it and making you feel comfortable and checking in with you to see if you're okay, like how you're handling it. Yeah. And it's just a very sweet, very pleasant way. So that was probably the main reason that I went, wow, she's not only brilliant, but, you know, there's several different mediums out there that are really good, but they come with such an attitude or so, you know, they don't really deliver the information in a really nice way.
That's right. Yes.
What sold me on her. That's exactly why. She
sounds like a natural, and I think everything happens for a reason as well. So clearly she gave you that reading right at the right time, and also for the right time for her, because you managed to persuade her to come along to the event, which is fantastic. We're really excited, aren't we? It's going to be quite a packed weekend, because we got the email through with all the things going on. So apart from the actual speakers, there's things going on. There's investigation as well. So the location is Warwick Castle.
Yeah, Warwick Castle. We've investigated Warwick Castle before. Great night. We did it last year for the convention, for the VIP investigation, and it was absolutely fantastic. And we also have a VIP party on the Saturday night.
Yeah.
So we're going to have also, we've sort of convinced the castle to unlock a few parts that have never been investigated before.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, so let the cat out the bag on that one.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, so we've got a few extra places that have never been investigated.
Oh, great.
So we'll investigate Friday night. We've got lectures all day Saturday. And I purposefully started the lectures at around 11, just to give people a chance to have breakfast, get a few hours sleep.
Yeah.
After the investigation the night before.
Yeah.
Saturday night, we've got the VIP party. Sunday, again, we've got lectures all day. And then on Sunday, we do have 2 extra optional events that you can take part in. But we're selling those tickets separately for those who do, because a lot of people are leaving Sunday afternoon.
Yes.
Which is why we didn't include it. But we also have a 4-course medieval banquet taking place on Sunday night in the castle.
Wow.
And that's going to have, it's a 4-course meal that includes beer, wine, and to a certain limit, unlimited soft drinks, and some entertainment. So we'll have the castle will be putting on all the entertainment for us.
It really is an amazing location.
It is. It's stunning.
And have you still got some tickets left, just in case?
I do. I've got I think we have about 15 or 16 tickets left for the weekend. So we're almost sold out.
Right. So by the time this goes out, there'll be less than that even. So if anybody is listening, make sure you get your tickets if you want to go.
They can get their tickets by visiting the website. It's got literally all the information we've been talking about. It's got speaker bios, all the information about the location, how to get there. And also you can buy a ticket online at www.sageparacon.co.uk.
Fantastic. And we will put the link to that on our Facebook page as well, and make sure it's with this podcast, and we'll make sure the link's there. And before we say goodbye, though, you did actually send me a photograph. Are you able to talk about that photograph you took whilst you were setting up the equipment in Warwick Castle?
Right. Oh, yes, definitely.
That's really exciting.
Setting up equipment, that was before the investigation.
Oh,
it was
really?
A midday. I think it was like 2:00 in the afternoon or something.
Gosh.
I'd been walking. I went to go and speak to Warwick Castle about the event. And I was walking through the castle, snapping some photos of each area that we were investigating.
Yeah.
To kind of see the size of it and, where we would set things up and just get a bit of a feel of it. And there's a particular bedroom called the Kenilworth bedroom. And I was completely alone in the room at the time. At the end of the bed was this little sign that says, the Kenilworth bedroom is believed to be the most haunted room in Warwick Castle. Mm-hmm. And it also goes on to say that the Dowager Countess and Countess Daisy of Warwick used to hold seances in this particular room with the infamous occultist Aleister Crowley.
Oh, right, yes.
And so I was quite intrigued, and I was trying to snap a few photos of the sign at the end of the bed. Unfortunately, the way it was positioned, I had both the windows behind me, so there was quite a glare coming from outside, reflecting off this little sign. So I kind of had to position myself in a really odd way to take the photos to block the glare out. I snapped one photo of the sign, and I thought, well, I can't read all of it, so I'll snap another one.
Mm.
And when I got home, I was kind of going through the photos, and I was showing a friend of mine, actually, and she went, "Who's that?" And I was like, "What do you mean, who's that?" I was alone in the room. And she's like, no, who's that? And when I looked at the photograph, you see the reflection in it stood in the window behind me is a full-bodied apparition.
There is.
It actually blocks the light out.
Yeah.
So it looks, you can see it's not quite solid, but it's solid enough to block the light out. So after a few minutes of freaking out, we called the castle, confirmed that there were no wax figures in the particular room at all. So it couldn't be one of their waxworks figures at all. And they also confirmed that they checked their CCTV, which shows that I was alone in the room at the time.
Wow.
I've seen this photograph. You sent it over to me. I can't debunk that at all.
We've tried, actually, because of my science side kicking in.
Yeah.
And because it is just so clear, I thought, let's just go back. And every single time I've been back at the castle, Every time I go back for a meeting, for the event, or for, showing a friend around or whatever, I try and recreate that photo. And I've tried everything. The castle actually tried everything to debunk it. And they couldn't. So they eventually said to me, like, do you mind sharing that? And I was like, well, I mean, it's pretty amazing. So no.
Yeah. I bet the staff at that castle have got a few stories. I bet they've seen a few things.
I did a lecture at Warwick Library in February, and one of the ladies that attended my lecture, she came up to me afterwards and she was like, oh, it's really funny that you're having your event at Warwick Castle because I used to work there. And she was telling me that there's a certain part of the castle, and I don't want to say it now because, but are joining us for the investigation in September. I don't want to kind of taint them with this. But there is a certain part of the castle that you can actually hear music playing.
Oh, that's interesting.
But several people have heard this. And she was saying, like, every night when she used to go and lock up, she would hear music coming from this particular room. And when we were there last year, October, for our Sage Paracon investigation, we actually captured that music. We've got it.
Really?
And it was so funny because it was so clear. I actually went back to the gentleman that had been looking after us, one of the castle staff that was looking after us that night. And I went to him and I was like, where do we switch the music off? And he was like, there's nothing on. He's like, I can take you to the switchboard. Everything is switched off. There is nothing on in this building.
Wow.
Double checked it and actually everything was turned off.
Really?
So, yeah. There's
wow.
funny, so many staff members there have told me about their experiences, which I will share with everyone the night of the investigation.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh, I just absolutely can't wait now. And it's in September.
The 22nd, 23rd, and 24th of September.
Fantastic. And it's not that you can rest after that. After that's all done and dusted, you're going to be organising your very first cruise as well. That's true. You don't stop, do you?
No. I will be putting together the Sage Para Cruise, and that is a 10-day adventure. It's May next year.
Yeah.
And it starts off with 3 days in Venice, doing some sightseeing and some ghost walks and tours and an investigation. And then from there, we board the ship, and from Venice, we go to Bari, Italy. We do Katakolon, or Olympia, as most people know it in Greece. We also do Athens, or Piraeus. Mm-hmm. We do Mykonos, Greece. We go on to Barrand in Albania, and we end. The last stop, is Dubrovnik in Croatia, and then we go back to Venice. So each day on board in the evening, we'll have one lecture.
Yeah.
We will also have different excursions, onshore excursions. So each stop, there will be some sort of a tour that we're doing, and it is sort of paranormal myths, legends. So it's kind of like a mini paranormal convention on board the ship with a cocktail in hand.
Oh, fantastic.
Loads of different places to explore and some sightseeing.
Sounds like a dream holiday for anybody who's into the paranormal.
The cruises really are. I've been lucky enough to be involved with the Spiri cruise, and that goes out of America every year, and I've done that for the last 2 years. And Jackie, who puts the Spiri cruise together, which is a fantastic cruise, she is taking a break next year. So while I was on the Spiri cruise this year, we announced that I'll be doing the Mediterranean side next year, the Sage Para cruise, the first one.
Fantastic. Wow. So, and have you booked many tickets yet? Is there still tickets available if people are thinking of next? It's not too early to think of next year's holidays.
It hasn't even gone on sale yet.
Okay.
We are literally finishing the final touches on the package at the moment.
Right.
We did want to put in a whole bunch of tours and make it a really nice package, but a lot of people can't take that amount of time off work, or they want the choice of packages. So we've just had to rearrange a couple of things.
Yeah.
However, we're finalizing those details very soon. Actually, Thursday morning we finalize everything.
Wow.
So we should have those up on the website. it will be a deposit of £150 to reserve your cabin. And then we can do a monthly payment plan. So, if you wanted to put £150 aside a month, pay it off, we can do that as well. So it's not that you have to pay the entire thing in full.
So it's very manageable, isn't it?
It really is. We want to give people that option.
That's a great idea.
That will be on our website soon. We'll also announce it on the Sage Paracon websites too.
That's so exciting. Absolutely fantastic. Well,
cruise and a product line. So
you've got so much going on now. You've got a coffee line and you've got clothing. It's so exciting.
The clothing line, I've only released five of the designs. I've kind of put that on hold a bit, so I can sort of focus on the Paracon a bit more. I do have a clothing line called Afterlife Clothing, and those are also available online. There's 5 different designs of t-shirts. They're really cool, very good quality, and we will be adding to that as soon as I finish designing the Sage Paracon 2017 shirts, which will also be available online. We've got Afterlife Coffee, which is our own blend of coffee beans that are ground into a filter coffee.
Wow.
We've got Witchworks, which are all the herbal products, which I'm launching next week.
That sounds exciting.
That's going to be all herbal, organic, different products. We've got things from bath salts to bath teas. We've got something for paranormal investigators. We've got sprays. We've got sage cleansing sprays and things.
Oh, I like the sound of that.
Before an investigation, you give yourself a bit of a sage down and a bit of protection, or if you're feeling a bit sluggish after the investigation, we've got a sage bath salts blend.
What a great idea!
And things and salts, because salt's naturally purifying.
Of course, yes.
So we've added in all the sage essential oil and white sage, as well as several different other ingredients to give you a nice detoxifying, spiritual cleansing all in one.
What a fantastic idea! See, this is how it's done. Any boys that are listening, this is what happens when women are in the paranormal. You can multitask and do all these different things. And this is how it's done. Yeah, you get a little bit of sleep in between, and you've got your coffee to wake up to in the morning.
Indeed. And we called it Afterlife Coffee, the deadly blend, for a reason.
Yeah. It's to keep you awake on the
dream. Because, what are the things that you need? Okay, this is coming from a female investigator. I want to know that I have a nice salt sage bath after an investigation and just feel a bit more cleansed and rejuvenated and relaxed. And I want to have my sage spray handy in case I need it. And I want to have a really nice strong cup of coffee to keep me up through my investigation. So it's all things that I've gone, do you know what? I wish I had this. And I'm like, I'm going to make it.
Fantastic. What a great way of doing things as well. And, you can, there's no limit really as to what you could do. Is there really? It'll just keep growing and growing.
It's grown a lot so far. So, I'm really enjoying everything that I'm doing at the moment, along with everything else. And take a deep breath.
Take a deep breath. And it's been absolutely fantastic talking to you. Thank you for your time tonight. Now, one important question: have you had your tea tonight?
Do you know what? I was very lazy and I got pizza.
Did you? Now, see, we always like to ask our guests what they're having for their tea. I don't know. I think it's just a thing.
You caught me on a day where I've decided I'm eating so healthy this week. All I want is just greasy takeaway pizza.
Oh, it sounds nice actually. Because food is a big thing, isn't it, for paranormal investigators? We usually gorge on all the wrong things during an investigation, which isn't great, is it? When it comes to
that can also make you feel really sluggish, and you've got to be of what you're putting in your body as well. I mean, the last few days, just because of the heat, I suppose, I've been living on fresh veggies and salads and that thing. But you do have to keep in mind, especially myself, I had some health issues. A lot of people know that I had stage 3 cancer.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
Wow.
I had 2 massive surgeries and 6 months of chemotherapy, which is kind of how the first Sage Paracon came.
Gosh.
Because I couldn't investigate, so I decided to, through my chemo, to put the event together.
Yeah.
And everything we made on the first Sage Paracon went to charity, to Macmillan.
Wow.
Well done.
So, I especially have to be very careful with what I put in my body.
It certainly makes you aware. Something like that it certainly makes you aware of what you are eating and the processed food and all of that. But again, it also helps. I believe with your sixth sense, and if you're putting good things into your body, I think
things out of it.
you get good things back. Yeah, and I think salt and sugar can have an effect on your experience paranormally as well.
But it's also, people always ask me, what's paranormal investigating like? And I always go, it's like tequila. And they go, wait, what? It is, because come a Saturday night, you go out on an investigation or you go to a party. You end up drinking tequila all night, and the next morning you wake up going, I am never doing that again. I feel terrible. I feel so drained. I hangover. And that's the same thing with an investigation.
Yeah.
You go out on Saturday night, you investigate. If you're not careful, if you're not protecting yourself, if you're not whatever, you can be spiritually drained, mentally drained, physically drained. You're up all night. You're shoving all the wrong foods in your system. You wake up the next day and you've got what we call a paranormal hangover.
Yeah.
And you do need to replenish certain salts and certain things in your body instead of having all the wrong stuff.
Yes.
So it's funny though. It's either tequila or Marmite. You either love it or hate it.
That's a very good analogy. Well, I must say thank you for talking to us tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'd love you to come back on the show another time if you would have us.
Absolutely love that. I've really enjoyed it. I should have apologized beforehand because I can really ramble.
Not at all. No, please. And we could talk all night. We're kind of fainting in the heat tonight.
No, it's been terrible.
It's just so hot, and I've shut the door because my family, I don't know if you've heard various things going on. There's been dogs barking and there's been comings and goings. It's just family life, and I think that's half the fun of it, really. We're sort of threatening them through the window, going, "Be quiet."
That's great. It just adds to it.
It does. It keeps it real. It keeps it real. And you've got a lovely energy about you, MJ. We can't wait to meet you. We really can't. And I just know this is going to be a huge success, this Paracon this year. And we're just absolutely honoured and thrilled to be guests and to come along and be a part of it.
I honestly can't thank you ladies enough for joining us. I'm looking forward to meeting you. I'm looking forward to learning some stuff from you ladies. Some interesting chats and a glass of wine at the VIP event.
That sounds great.
Yeah, I'm just really grateful that we've had people such as yourselves supporting us this year. I really appreciate it.
Oh, it's absolutely fantastic. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you, ladies, and have a great night.
You too. Thank you. We'll talk soon. We'll see you on Facebook.
Definitely. Take care.
Good night.
Good night.